David Toth, and this is Making Waves, a podcast where I get to chat with some of the most forward-thinking leaders in the accounting profession. We're diving into everything from growth and strategy to alignment and succession with real stories from people actually making things happen. On this show, you'll hear from alumni of the MPB Leadership Accelerated community. These are the folks out there pushing the profession forward, even through some of the most disruptive times we've ever seen. As Chief Growth Officer at Winding River Consulting, I spend all my time working with accounting firms, helping them grow, adapt, and build stronger practices. This community, it's rapidly growing, and I'm honored to share their stories here on Making Waves. Today, I'm joined by Michael Simpson, Managing Partner of Brinker Simpson. Brinker Simpson is a top 400 firm, about $14 million in revenue, was ranked best places to work in 2024 in Philadelphia, along with best accounting firm for women by Accounting Today. Welcome, Michael.
David, good afternoon. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Well, I'm excited to not only get to chat today. I know last week we got some time to catch up at the third annual Winning Ways conference in Chicago, all about leadership development. I know we'll get a chance to talk a little bit about that today. But as we were catching up, it sounds like it's been since about July 2022 since you took the role of managing partner at Brinker Simpson.
Yep, that's correct. My the former managing partner, who was my cousin, started the firm back in '89 and built us up to a great firm. And July 1st of 2022, he decided to step aside. He's still involved with the firm, but yeah, it's been a great two and a half years so far.
So you have this unique situation, not only from a family perspective, but you had a managing partner there almost 30 plus years, name on the door. You're stepping in as the first new face, after a very long time. I'm sure there come with some inherent challenges. I guess, what are some of the things that kind of came up at the forefront of that transition that said, hey, these are some things we're going to have to tackle that we might be having to do differently, and it's just going to take some time to get there.
Yeah. There's been a few, and after Bob's transition, he's been invaluable to me for as far as advice and helping me think through some issues. But we're just like other accounting firms. The labor shortage within the accounting market has affected us, and
Yeah.
we're looking to start doing some offshoring this year. I developed an innovation committee for each department. I want to make sure that, as a smaller firm, we have about 75 team members, that we are up to date as far as innovation within each department. I meet with the tax, the audit, and our CAS department to make sure that they're keeping their eyes and ears open to what's out in the industry, as well as myself, to make sure that we're using everything possible to make us more efficient and more useful to our clients.
Really cool. So each department has an innovation committee. What does that typically look like? 2, 3, 5 people, practice leader, plus some different ranks. Would love to hear a little bit more about that.
Sure. It's a manager and usually 2 staff.
Okay.
So no partners are in it yet. Reason being is I want to make sure I'm utilizing the partners' times correctly, and each meeting we talk about what our goals were from the prior meeting as far as what's happening, let's say, in the CAS market or the tax market, as far as whether it's ChatGPT, how it's being utilized, and other AI functions. And we'll sit and go through it. For instance, one of the staff members in audit gave a presentation on what they're reading and seeing in the market. He reached out to one of his former college professors to see what they're doing or what they're hearing on what's going on out in the market, and spoke to some former classmates who work at bigger firms and what they're utilizing. So it's something we don't have to be the first to adapt, but we can't be the last to adapt. So trying to get some employee buy-in, and that I'm putting it in their hands to make sure that we have what we need to be successful and to be as efficient as possible.
Yeah, and so we were chatting a little bit about growth and what does growth mean to you? What does growth mean to Brinker Simpson going forward? And you kind of talked a little bit about the need to have a strategy around talent, retention, attraction, et cetera. What does growth look like for Brinker Simpson? I know you guys have grown since you became managing partner. You continued to grow. Going forward, one part of your growth journey has been joining an alliance, and how to made that decision as well. But just starting at the top, what does growth look like for Brinker Simpson right now?
Yeah, it's a great question, David. I mean, obviously top line growth. We have to grow each and every year. So business development is huge here. One thing I'm really focusing on outside of business development is personnel development.
Okay.
We have to develop our people. We have to give them the tools to succeed. And as you mentioned, we did just join DFK as of April 1st. And a couple reasons why we were never part of an association or
Hmm.
alliance before. I needed the tools selfishly for myself to help me collaborate with other managing partners, but uh, we've also utilized their managers training and sent some of our people out to the managers training, which has been great. But we have to continuously grow our bench. We need to make sure that those that are continually, because we're having a lot of partner retirement in the next couple of years,
Okay.
that they are set up to be successful, number one, and they have a chance to learn about leadership, to learn about how to have difficult conversations. We just had one of our recently promoted partners join you and Gary out at your new program. What's the new partner
Basic
boot?
training boot camp.
There it is, Basic Train Boot Camp. I'm a graduate of Managing Partner Boot Camp, which was invaluable, not only from a knowledge end, but from a relationship end. So trying to develop the growth, not only top line, but individually with our team members. They have to grow. They have to get away from the desks. CPE is great for tax and audit, but
Right.
they need that training, that leadership and development training as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I love the fact that that's such a priority or a focus of yours kind of going forward for the firm. As you kind of, evolved since 2022, getting a sense of, where you guys are wanting to go today. Are there specific areas that you're prioritizing in order to accomplish that growth at the same time, right? For growth sakes, not always, relatable, but at the same time, knowing that at a smaller firm, shifting from a book of business to managing the firm as a client. What are some of the other priorities, around growth right now, whether it's niche, industry, on the people side?
Sure, sure. We just had our first of we just met as a group for our strategic plan going
Okay.
forward, and we really have to the partners have to look at their books of business and make sure that um, they have capacity, and that those that are working or helping them grow, the staff is helping them grow, is that the client is the right fit for us.
Yeah.
That has been a focus right now, where someone that was a fit for us maybe 10 years ago may not be a great fit for us now. So we're starting to do some culling of our clients. It's a slow process, but it's something that we're really focused on. We have to make sure that we're providing a great service for clients. It's when I get a new client, it's not because of the fees. It's usually I can't get a phone call returned, or I can't get an email returned. So returning emails and phone calls, um, drilling that into staff and making sure the client's needs are met is just so important. So growing from the growing from the angle of making sure that the staff has that type of mentality, because the the type of we're doing a lot of work now, David, in say September and October for clients that had to extend, and they're getting some really big K1s, which wasn't really the case, I would say, about 5 years ago.
Okay.
So the higher net worth clients were really starting to get involved with over the last couple years. So we're actually seeing two tax seasons, the traditional April 15th, and then the October 15th deadline, because a lot of these higher end clients are investing in private equity or they're investing in hedge funds. So that's been a tremendous growth area. I'm a CVA as well, so valuation end. We one of our staff got his CVA in the last 6 months, so we've doubled our staff size with doing valuations. I think it's an underserved area. It's either your specialty shop to just doing the CVA, the valuation work. Not a lot of accounting firms do it, so we've seen some growth area in that as well. We really capitalized on when the ERC and the PPP came out. We did a lot of webinars. We really capitalized on that. We did a lot of work for our clients in that area. So we're always keeping an eye out as far as which type of niches should we get involved with, what's changing in the marketplace, and making sure we're on top of that for our clients as well.
Yeah, and so you mentioned a little bit earlier, and I think this is a question I get a lot, especially when you hit that $10 million range, is the alliance side of the conversation. And I know you spent a lot of time looking at different associations, different alliances. You talked about MPB alumni and tapping into that network. I know a lot of firms do that when they're, pursuing it. Just out of curiosity, as you thought about this growth trajectory that you guys are focused on, both in terms of people as well as the firm, what were some of the important parameters that you were looking for when it came to, your search for an alliance or an association, and ultimately, like you said, ending up at DFK?
Sure. Yeah. This is the only firm I've worked at. All right. So I started as an intern in 93, went full time in 95, and there were three of us. So this is all I know. When I just know how we do it here at Brinker Simpson. So when looking at an alliance, I wanted firms that were of similar size,
Yeah,
and also firms that were a lot bigger as well, because we want to continue to grow. We want to be able to get some support at our level, and we want to be able to get some support as we continue to grow. So the diversity of firms was important.
yeah,
Um, the availability of training, the availability of roundtable discussions for my non-accounting professionals, my business development director, our marketing director, our human resources director. Our human resources director wasn't in the accounting world before she came to us, and has found the roundtables they have monthly or quarterly to be invaluable. And now they each have people they can reach out and say,
yeah.
"Hey,
That's huge.
we have this issue
Yeah,
at Brinker Simpson. How are you handling this? Or what are you doing to tackle this?" We're transferring over our tax programs to CCH, and we're already in talks with member firms that have already done that. I mean, making decision going from one to another is, is a little bit easier. Now we're into the logistics of, okay, what mistakes did you make when you did this?
yeah,
How can we avoid it? Because it's a big changeover. It really is. And to be able to leverage those type of relationships has been huge,
yeah.
because like I said, Brinker Simpson is the only firm I know, and doing it our way is, it's been great. We've been successful, but to get that outside engagement and that outside advice has been valuable to me.
Yeah, I think that's an important, perspective that you bring, because a lot of people look at alliances or associations for technical capabilities or upskilling, as they're going upstream and taking on new clients. And, a lot of what these associations can provide is more that community and that network of professionals that you and your other people and other leaders within the organization can tap into at any specific point. Thinking about the conversation, where you've been since 2022, it's been growth, obviously comes with challenges and opportunities. What do you kind of see as the number one challenge going into 2025 as you continue thinking about growth right now for you?
Our people, and the challenge is on the leadership to make sure we are in alignment to grow our people,
Yeah.
to keep our people, to make sure we're setting them up to be successful. We have an outstanding group here. We really do. And we need to make sure that every day we're providing them with the opportunity to continue to progress in their career, the opportunity to be challenged every day. I mean, a huge challenge at a firm our size is training.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure we're providing them with the training and development so they're not stuck. And it's funny. A couple years ago, I met with a staff member, and we were reviewing his year, and and I'm glad he said this because he's a very valuable staff member. Is He goes, I feel like I'm not growing, and it was like kind of a punch in the face, a good punch in the face,
Yeah,
if
sure.
there is one. And I said, okay, that's fair. I said, we're going to meet twice a month. I said, but you have to, it's a two-way street. You have to make sure you have to be open and honest with me, and I'll be open and honest with you. But you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable,
Yeah.
because it's the only way you're going to be able to grow is that you have to agree to get out of your comfort area. It stinks when you're in the middle of it and you're in an uncomfortable situation. But once you get through that situation and you see the benefits of going through it, and you normally look back and say that's not too bad. So we have to continue to challenge ourselves to make sure that our staff is being put in a situation to succeed and in a situation to grow.
Yeah, and great answer. I love that because I don't think we think about growth as people as much as we do about the firm sometimes, and how critical that is. I know you're wearing your Winding River lanyard around the neck. I love it. Last week we had Winning Ways, in Chicago. I know you were, attendant with us, and I was telling a little bit of a story of an international association I was working with around. I asked them the same question: "What's your number one challenge going into 2025?" And I thought a big part of it was just in the US, the talent shortage, but globally, 21 countries represented at that meeting globally. Every firm's challenge, number one issue is people. And whether that's a generational divide or technology upskilling or alignment or from a leadership perspective, and this whole idea of this work-life balance, it's a huge task to tackle. And, I'm glad to hear that that's something that you as kind of a managing partner is really prioritized going forward for the firm going into next year.
Yeah, and I thought at Winning Ways, you guys did a great job on. There was a learning and development. There was a learning and development presentation. I thought it was really well done. The firm that presented is a pretty large firm, so but at least put on my radar of this is something, this is an angle we really have to start exploring
Yeah.
in a learning and development program, because if we don't do it and they leave, someone else will. And, we don't want to lose our good people.
Yeah, I mean that's a $50 million firm investing six full-time people into L&D, and it's like most $100 million firms aren't doing that today, and that's not a cheap thing to execute on at all. But to your point, gives a lot of visibility or ideas of what's happening. And the other big takeaway that I love is we never think about this, but in your role and your role as a leader, it's you make the weather. Are you going to show
Yep.
up and it's 50-degree and rainy, or is it 75 and sunny? And I thought Scott did a really nice job at just putting some simple things into perspective. And when you wake up and it's snowing outside for the first time, how do you feel? You want to go back into bed and, by
Right.
that fireplace. Well, same thing you do when you bring the weather to work with you, right? And I don't know, I really resonated with that.
No, I think it was a great concept in that it's just it's a mindset that as leaders, we set the tone. If we walk into the office in the morning and it's 50 and rainy, they those that you walk by feel it. If it's 80 and sunny, they get a nice optimistic feel to it, and I think it resonates throughout the firm. It's something that's most days it's very easy to do, but there are some days where it's a challenge to come in feeling that like it's 80 and
Oh
sunny.
yeah.
But I'll be honest with you. There's no other place I would want to spend my days. I'm surrounded by like so many talented individuals, and I love working with them. I love collaborating with them, and most of all, I love seeing them succeed.
Well, I always love our conversations as well. You always make me smile and always learn something
Mhm.
new about what you're doing to get there. I know you were, like you mentioned, an MPB alumnus. I think, were you the pandemic cohort, the 18
Yep, we
month
were.
program?
Yep.
Yeah, that was a one and done deal for the record. So we haven't done an
Hmm.
18-month program since then. But just kind of going back, you mentioned, I know your group does a lot on the peer-to-peer side. You guys built a really nice community and network. You've been pretty active after the fact. As you took reins, if you will, July 1st, 2022, you look back the last 2 years now in 2024. How has that impacted your journey so far?
Yeah, it set me up it set me up to help me be successful. It's nothing you can prepare for totally.
Yeah,
It's
truth.
not, and I'm finding that out, believe me, to this day. It set me up to, how to have the difficult conversation, to think about emotional intelligence. I mean, managing partner boot camp, there was firms a lot bigger than ours, and there were some
Yeah.
firms that were smaller than ours. We all have kind of similar problems, but it's the approach you take that hopefully tackle those problems, and using what I learned in managing partner boot camp was so essential. I mean, you look at somebody like Gary, who I believe he took over his father's firm. There was 12 people, I believe, and
Yep.
he grew up to 500. I mean, how can you not want to sit there and be on the edge of your seat to listen to somebody who's been through those experiences?
Yeah.
And it was the experience sharing that when you make a mistake, and I've made a lot of mistakes, it's not fatal.
Yep.
It's a grow, learn from it, move on. It's having that community, and being able to talk to people in those communities that have been through it. It it brings you comfort that, all right, yeah, I made some mistakes, and you know that's to be expected, or that's what happens, not to be expected, but that's what happens when you're in this type of position, and I have to grow and learn from them. But
Yeah.
it's been a great journey. It's been a very interesting 2+ years. But yeah, managing partner boot camp definitely prepared me for it. So, and it was a tremendous help.
Well, and I think that the big theme of this conversation is there's so many facets to growth today, whether it's in our people, our top line revenue, within ourselves, the organizations. Would love to kind of, wrap things up with getting kind of what would your piece of advice be to a rising leader or a new partner or a new managing partner? You've seen that whole trajectory. You've been at that one firm. You've seen this firm grow year after year, and would love to kind of get some of your tips or advice on what we can take away as that new leader.
No, yeah, absolutely. Get involved with an organization where you can surround yourself with people that are doing what you're doing and have done it for 15, 20 years. Last week at Winning Ways, spoke to another managing partner who's been doing it for 20 years. And just to sit and listen to him was, it helps so much.
Yeah.
So one, you have to prepare yourself in a way that you have to get your mindset moving from the client work to managing the firm. And it's still tough for me to this day, is pulling myself out of that chair. But to surround yourself with people, whether it's twice a year or 3 times a year, where you can sit for 2 or 3 days and hear of their struggles, and relate it to what you're going through, and knowing that, hey, this person had this struggle similar to mine
Yeah.
2 or 3 years ago, and they got through it, and this is how they got through it. So anybody that's pinned for to take over, I would say, yeah, you need help. You need to make sure you're relying on others that have gone through this before, like a
Yeah.
managing partner boot camp or an alliance. Somebody that you can kind of help you mentor and get you to a successful point in your career.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more on the fact that obviously things are constantly changing and evolving, but it's the validation. It's just like you dealt with that too. Like I thought that was only a me problem, right?
Right,
Or
right.
an us problem, and no, it's not. Most of those issues, like you said, are have been addressed or dealt with by others, and so it's, do you have that community, that foundation that allows you to build upon it. And I know you've been able to spend a lot of your time doing that, at Brinker Simpson. So, Michael, really appreciate your time today. I'm looking forward to catching up in a couple of years when you guys are 20 million and continuing to watch that journey grow. Thank you so much for joining us today on Making Waves, and we'll catch up soon.
David, thank you for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
Sounds good. Talk to you.